Right, I'm going to do an AAR on my play of Napoleon at Leipzig. Um, did a video on the strategy, if you missed that. Just basically looking at the force ratios and so forth. This one I'm just going to do a playthrough. Rules I use are the ones with the hit tables, for the fire tables, rather than the defender retreats. And so without further ado, let's get on there and do that. Just get rid of that box. Right, so the situation starts as we've got the map here. So I'll just quickly go through that. I'll turn off music down a little bit. So here's the French Guard. Okay, and then we have 5th Cavalry Corps, 1st Cavalry Corps, the 5th Corps, 2nd Corps, 4th Cavalry Corps, 9th, 8th, LO, 6th Corps, and in the north we have 4th Corps, 3rd Corps, it's a little bit scattered, and 11th Corps, McDonald's 11th Corps marching down in March. The 2nd Cavalry is up here as well. There's some 3rd Cavalry Corps units as well, but they don't have a leader because their leader's looking after this westward escape route over here. And then just for, again, just a summary, coming on from the northwest, we see Blucher with the Prussian Corps of Europe, and then 3 Russian corps coming on during the day. And in the south we have the Austrians, so Schwarzenberg. We have the Austrian Guard here. We have 2nd Corps, Austrian 4th Corps over here, and here we have some Prussian 2nd Corps, Russians, Wittgenstein. Most importantly, we have the Constantine and the Guard down here, and then people coming on in turn 2. But this is the 16th, so early on the 16th I rolled it and I had rain, but let's just step through. So I might just make it a little bit bigger so we can. The 4th Corps proceeded to come down. The 3rd Corps spent some time gathering its units up. 2nd Corps started coming down and MacDonald marched. In the west, I sent Marmont and his 6th Corps to start establishing some defensive positions to block Blucher's advance there. Likewise, with the LO, the Corps not strong enough really to start pushing out, so just tried to set up some defensive areas there. This music, by the way, is the Battle of Leipzig. Alright, next, so in the south, Homburg's chip came out, and pretty early, and I decided to swing Homburg east rather than west to come into this area here. I'm not so worried about between these 2 rivers. I think 2nd Austrian Corps can look after that. And 2nd Austrian Corps did proceed to place some guns and start shooting at Fontenowski's 8th Corps. That corps, when the chip came out, proceeded to start to protect the flank. 9th Corps advanced and placed guns, started to bombard, as did Victor, 2nd Corps. Kellerman's 4th Cavalry Corps threatened charge. And it pretty much went on like that through 0600 until about midday, when the Guard started to move down, and at the same time 5th Corps started to move southeast with Cavalry Corps on her left flank and the 1st Young Guard coming through 5th Corps. This move on the right was a threat to the coalitions. Constantine, every time that ship came out, I was continually moving him up because that's where the strength is. And in the west and northwest, Yorick and Blucher started to come on, as did one of the Russian corps. So getting through to the afternoon now on the 16th of October, we see the Guard started to make its presence felt, and the Guard cavalry set up for charge. This continued bombardment, Prussian 2nd Corps, I had to pull back, set up some guns. While this is going on consecutively, the push to the southeast was occurring. And there was artillery bombardments, and I think I've got a shot of that actually. So there was quite a lot of artillery bombardment going on there in that east part, and also in the south here. But what really crunched it for the coalition at this point was the realization that it's no point really fighting on the 16th, since most of the troops come on 17, 18, and possibility being flanked, and at least the rules I play, disorganized infantry or being flanked is just eaten up by cavalry. So that was a big problem. So 4th Corps pulled back, all the way chased by 5th French Corps and 1st and 5th Cavalry Corps kept trying to outflank her. As I said, the 1st Young Guard came through. But eventually, in the late afternoon, it started to rain again a little bit, and things started to stabilise. In the centre here, Wittgenstein eventually succumbed to the pressure of the guns of the Guard, and 9th Corps, Victor's 2nd Corps, Rogados 9th Corps just started pushing back. So the Allies fell back. And one thing I did do was decide what to do with 3rd and 4th Corps in the north here. 4th Corps actually is a bit smaller. I sent it west to help 6th Corps, and 3rd Corps went directly south, passing through the Polish 8th Corps to attack the Austrians. I think I've got it. Here it is coming down the map. And so I used march movement for a lot of that. And it came through and bumped directly into the Austrian Guard, at which point guns and cavalry charges were set up. Sommerkleist's 2nd Prussian Corps were trapped, as we'll see in a moment, because the French kept pushing and the Allies kept falling back. There was a couple of divisions stuck in here with one of the rules precluding its movement, moving from Zop to Zop. So at that point, it started to stabilise very late in the afternoon of 16th, with the Russian Guard coming up and setting up gun positions and heavy cavalry. The French essentially came into position along this stream here, Magdeborn. It's a famous name, I'm sure. And right, so what happened then? Let's see what's moving here. Oh, over here on the west. Late in the afternoon, Austrians started to advance, and both these units quite small, but through amazing combination of chit pulls at the right time, and just kept rolling sixes for bombardment and for volley fire. Actually demoralized that corps. So that made two corps demoralized, because Wittgenstein's was also demoralized down here. At that point, I'm probably glad that I'd left 1st Young Guard in reserve and McDonald's. I chose to send the 1st Young Guard and the 2nd Cavalry Corps and elements of 3rd Cavalry Corps, which I think was originally belonged to this guy. McDonald I just placed centrally. Main reason for that, the rules, I will publish the rules I play, but the rules I play for a lot of these multi-day operational study group games, if corps fight one day, I penalise them the next day, that their morale levels drop, say, from 3 to 2, or if they're guard, 4 to 3, or 5 to 4, and so that means if they fight a second day, and what I'm trying to do is model fatigue and supply and ammunition supply there, then the second day they fight, they're particularly brittle and just as hard to reorganise at the end of the turns. So it's risky. So in other words, I need some reserves. And we're talking about a multi-day battle. So 4th Corps, as I said, proceeded northwest to sit on the right of 6th Corps. Russians responded and then started to flank that corps, so probably wasn't a great idea, because it had its right flank stuck out in the air doing nothing, so of course it got flanked, and eventually I had to pull it all the way back. Another Russian corps came up, and very late in the afternoon a Russian corps came up. So basically that's where it ended, at the 16th of the end of the day. So I'm just going to go, I'll just show what happened on day 2, and day 2, almost, I think until about 3 p.m, it just started raining. And so there was really nothing much that could be done on day 2. There was a lot of marching around, and that was about it. Right, okay, so we'll finish. You see lots of people marching around. Day 2, there's various lots of reinforcements that come in from the south, Colorado, and we'll talk about those presently. Okay, now how do I get rid of that menu item? So that's the box, so let's get rid of the box, there we go. Okay, so day 2, this Russian corps here, Saint Priest, threatened to flank the left flank of Marmont's 6th Corps, which I'd stationed on this river, which I really should know the name of, should know. Plesty. P-L-E-I-F-E. We're hearing God Save the Queen from that music at the moment, because there was some British rocketers in one of the corps, not on the map yet though. In any event, this threatened to flank Marmont, so even though it was raining, at the same time, the Young Guard pushed through this town, which is called Lidenau. By the way, I don't know whether you noticed on the map, but Bretonfield's on the map, so from 30 Years' War. Must go to this area one time. There must be a great trip around looking at all the different historical sites from World War II back. Again, it seemed to be that the coalition was getting all the luck with chit pulls, but as soon as Young Guard made that move, some priests started to chit pull and move south, and there was a large battle there. 2nd Cavalry tried to help them, but there was significant losses on both sides, and Guard got flanked and shot up fairly badly. In fact, it got so bad I was getting worried about the French never being able to get off the map if need be, slowly losing confidence that they would be able to hold out. Actually end up sending 8th Corps over to hold that, and then left a bit of a hole, and the 2nd Austrians came up as all the French started to stream back to make a tighter defensive area. MacDonald, which I had in reserve, was sent in and pretty much put an end to that little Austrian adventure. And then essentially the French all just started to pull back, as you can see here.
I'm explain something to somebody and I just don't have all.
And the Austrians followed them up. So if I zoom in a little bit here, we can see that. And even Wittgenstein became demoralized, moralized again. It's the opposite of demoralized, I guess. Who would have thought of that? It's like Ruth and Ruthless, isn't it? And the Allies rode through and took all these villages that originally had been taken by the French. This is where historically there was a huge battle, but of course historically the coalition attacked. They didn't. So that's where pretty much it ended up. I'm just going to get to the end of that replay and let's have a quick look. Here we go. So you can see here a line of Allies and the French. And so, whereas in the northwest, 6th and 4th Corps push back. So I think I'll leave it there, and I'll do another one for the actual Battle of Leipzig, which is on the 18th, and we'll see whether it begins to rain again or not. And I think that's it.